Hey guys, welcome back to the second episode on the VW bus. Now before starting this off, I need to warn you, I let the paint dry for about an hour, but not every paint is dry enough after an hour to mask it. And if the preparations have not been done properly, you could pull away the paint while removing the masking tape. So make sure your paint is dry enough and that you have done your preparations properly. Now for the masking in this video, I will be using some Tamiya masking tape. This is readily available all around the world and is a seriously good masking tape. Now to start it off, I'm going to do the big border around the bus on the underside, and I'm going to start in the corner here, making a shallow bow in it and then doing the long straights. While masking off these bows, do be careful to not stretch and pull on the masking tape too much, because if it's stretched and pulled too much, it will pull back off. So apply light pressure and try not to bend it too much. For these straight pieces, it's sometimes harder than it looks. I pulled this off about 3 times before I was totally satisfied with the positioning of it. And then on this corner, it was a bit tight, so the tape buckled up a bit. But nothing to worry, just pull it a bit tighter. In these corners it's not really a problem, as it is properly in place on both sides, so it doesn't really have anywhere to go. And then just remove the folds from the masking tape upwards with your fingernail or a toothpick, and then just move around to the other side. This one went pretty good the first time and I was really satisfied with it. Now on this front section, it's pretty much the same as on the other side. Just pull it a teeny tiny light amount to get it into shape and then press it into place. I just used a sharp blade to cut it off and then remove the excess material. And then I went around the whole border of the masking with a toothpick to make sure that all those small tight spots are in place, which I really could not see when doing it with my fingernail. The radius on the front was a bit too big for the wide strip of masking tape I was using, so I cut a piece down to about 1 millimeter width. That could just form around it a lot easier than the bigger piece would have, and it's a lot cleaner of the result. When starting a bend like this off, make sure that a piece of the masking tape is properly secure on the lower end of the body, below my left thumb, and then just try and bend it into place and make sure it's down first. With the parts you're satisfied with, just put those down permanently. For now at least, it's still masking tape. And then move the other part you just put down to keep it in place, and then get back to shaping it. This might take a couple of tries, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy. You'll see on the other side that went a lot quicker. I think in about 1 or 2 tries I got that one down. The masking in the position you want it to be, just go over it with a toothpick to make sure it's properly in its place and all the way down so the paint won't seep underneath it, and then just do the same thing on the other side. tightest spot was underneath where both parts meet, and I decided not to do that with a long piece of masking tape, as it was too tight of a corner and it wouldn't really come out as well as I wanted it to. So I just put a bigger piece of masking tape over it and then pressed it into place with my fingernail and a toothpick, and then just used a sharp blade to cut around it. With the hardest part of the masking now done, I just masked off the rest of the body with some bigger pieces of masking tape and then moved on to applying the second color, Pearl White from Zero Paints. Now this is done as always with my Harder Edge Steinbeck 2-in-1 Evolution, a 0.4mm needle set at 35 psi or 2.4 bars, sprayed with a Eurotech 20A air compressor. Just like applying the blue in the last video, this is going to be done in a couple of coats just to make sure that it covers and not to get it on too quickly and too thick. So the first coat is about a 40% coverage, again just like the blue. The second coat will be just as heavy, and the third coat again will be another 40%. Adding an extra 20 just to be sure that everything is completely covered and that I'm satisfied with the result. On the last video I got a question about what I meant with the 40% coverage. Well, it's just like tinting a window. 40% coverage in my case means that you can still see through about 60%. So the coverage is 40%, and in the next one I will add another 40% to that, so you could still see 20% of the light coming through. And in the final coat, just covering it the full 100% plus an extra 20 to be absolutely sure that there's no blue or gray from the underlaying layers seeing through it. With this first coat on, again just like pretty much every other paint, let it dry for about 5 minutes in between and then move on to the second coat, giving it another coverage of an extra 40% on top of the previous 40. Now some of you might be wondering how I achieved that 40% coverage in one coat. Well, I just don't pull back the trigger 100%, I just keep it halfway, not letting all the paint flow through it that can flow through it. So it's just spraying a lot less paint than if you would pull it back 100%. Just like the first coat, let it dry for about 5 minutes in between and then move on to the third and final coat, giving it that full coverage. After finishing this third coat, I'm gonna let it dry for at least an hour before moving on to masking off this second part and painting the roof. That's it for this video. In the meantime, be sure to head over to thescalemodeler.com, my online web shop. Also, don't forget to give me a like on Facebook. Questions or suggestions, shoot me an email or post a comment. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.